Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, how the Bahamas rates on human rights. Also ahead tonight, why the BUT says Belinda Wilson's candidacy is a no-go. Post office workers take to the streets in protest. And
the latest murder comes to the doorsteps of police. The details coming up in the Bahamas Tonight.
The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
The United States has released the annual Human Rights Country Report, which lists the Bahamas' pitfalls and successes regarding the sensitive issue. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Charisma Robinson. The report is used to provide information that helps the U.S. Congress, executive branch, and courts in making decisions where accurate information on human rights is critical.
Now, it also supports the work of advocates, lawmakers, scholars, multilateral institutions, and other governments. Our Janaea Noel Ferguson takes a closer look.
The most serious human rights problems in the Bahamas were reported as the mistreatment of irregular migrants, an insufficient judicial system, and an increase in retaliatory crime against both witnesses and alleged perpetrators. Now, the report also cited corruption and lack of government transparency, stressing that the government did not implement the law effectively and officials engaged in corrupt practices with impunity. The Human Rights Report indicated that there was frequent reports of government corruption during the year 2015, and a procurement process was susceptible to corruption and contains no requirement to engage in open public tenders or allow award decisions to be reviewed. The former BEC board member charged with bribery was also highlighted in the Human Rights Report. Now, the issue of public disclosure by public officials also concerning, as there was no independent verification of the data declared by government officials, and the rate of submitting that information was said to be, quote, weak, except in election years. Now, the report, which focused on the year 2015, detailed prison overcrowding with poor sanitation, inadequate access to medical care and maximum security, and buckets still being used to collect human waste. Improvements were, however, acknowledged. Extensive renovations to the eastern block of the prison is ongoing, and cells were outfitted with flushing toilets, bedding, and televisions. Poor living and working conditions was also reported at the Carmichael Road Detention Center, and from January to October 2015, 157 complaints were lodged against police officers. Immigration issues also highlighted in the report. In response to the new immigration policy rolled out in November 2014, the Human Rights Report noted that as of October 2015, there were 9 asylum requests. But as it relates to the judiciary, the report realized that procedural shortcomings and trial delays were a problem, and the courts were unable to keep up with the rise in criminal cases. The backlog of cases, they said, were growing. Once cases went to trial, the report stated that they were further delayed due to inaccurate handling or presentation of evidence. The Bahamas was, however, praised for its implementation of the Persons with Disabilities Act, although challenges still exist. And commendation was also given for the many freedoms Bahamian people enjoy under the Constitution. A full and complete report regarding the status of internationally recognized human rights is conducted every year. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Permanent Secretary for the NHI Secretariat, Peter DeVoe Isaacs, is today responding to concerns expressed by the United Healthcare Reform Alliance, which has publicly rejected the proposed NHI model, claiming that members will not sign on if there aren't some changes. DeVoe Isaacs says a series of discussions are ongoing in spite of the delays.
We've had some further discussions with some of the members of that organization. They didn't mean any harm or injury to the NHI process at all. They thought that they had some constructive comments that they wished to make, and that we were prepared, as we've always been, We've had an open door policy with regards to them, an invitation to all and sundry to come and talk with us about NHI. And we've had discussions with the individual members of the alliance.
DeVoe Isaac says there are at least 80% of Bahamians who are all for the implementation of NHI, and despite the model rejection by the UHRA, NHI officials have the full support of the international partners.
We know that the policy has support internationally. It's good international best practice. So we believe we are on the right course of action to make sure that we have a reality in national health insurance. We expect that there will be, from time to time, disagreements and differences of opinion. That's the nature of democracy. But I think it's good government policy. The Prime Minister is convicted by this. He wishes to see this happen. And we will implement the government policy.
Some issues are brewing within the presidency race for the upcoming Bahamas Union of Teachers election.
Now, it appears that Belinda Wilson, the current suspended president, does not have the support of the union's candidates committee to run again for the post, but she announced that she has every intention to run.
Don Davis caught up with both the acting and current president of the BUT to clear the air on the issue.
The list that I got from the candidates committee, their duty is to report to the secretary the list of names that have been ratified and are able to contest the elections, and the candidates committee did not ratify her in this election.
Acting president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Zane Lightbourne, says that current president of the BUT, Belinda Wilson, has not been ratified as a presidential candidate in the upcoming union general elections set for June 9th. Lightbourne, who has been sitting in the acting presidency capacity for a little over a year now, is offering himself for the presidency post. He told ZNS News on Wednesday during a shop steward meeting at Walker's Hall that he is still unsure as to why Wilson offered herself as a presidential candidate and gave these reasons why she may not have been considered to run for a third consecutive term.
You have to be a member in good standing, and you have to be a financial member of the union. And I guess their determination have to be with a question concerning that. The candidates committee would have to speak. They're an independent committee that we have a mandate by law that we cannot interfere with. So once they send out the list, the Secretary General's job is only to publish the list. So some persons would have seen the list published and then know that they didn't make the cut.
This past Sunday, Wilson announced that she is still the duly elected president until June and is seeking re-elections as BUT president. We spoke with Wilson via radio on Thursday to find out about her next plan of action.
Now, we received information, actually, not officially from the union, first of all. We received information via social media that our nominations, and it's not just only myself, it is myself, it is Ms. Knowles, who is the treasurer, and Ms. Monroe, who is the trustee. So three of us have not been ratified or approved by the candidates committee. However, as early as yesterday, we would have appealed. And I just want to say that, yes, we are serving suspension. However, there is no rule, there is no law that prevents a member who is serving a suspension from offering themselves as a candidate.
When asked if she believes this is a personal attack on her character and the 14 members of her A-team, Wilson responded this way.
Well, I must say, I believe that the few executives that are presently serving have tried everything to not only prevent me from contesting as a candidate for the presidency, but also to defame my name and to sully my reputation. But I must say to you that I am not at all deterred. I am encouraged. I am feeling very optimistic about the election, and I look forward to continuing to serve our members after June the 9th. 2016.
An official list of all of the ratified candidates for the upcoming BUT elections set for June 9th will be submitted in May. LaDawn Davis, ZNS Network News.
Workers at the main post office building on East Hill Street staged a peaceful protest outside the building this morning. They wanted to bring attention to what they called deplorable working conditions. President of the Bahamas Public Service Union, John Pinder, says the building is in poor condition with rodents and mold and is reportedly affecting workers' health. He said some 100 employees will be on work to rule until this matter is resolved.
The ceiling is still falling down on persons. Rats has really taken over the post office. They take over the post office. And they're working with rats running across their legs and that sort of thing. And so it has really reached a point where they can't take it no more. Unless these people stop going in this building that is not conducive to their productivity, it's not good for their health. This building is unsafe. This is a very hazard building to the core. And so we are demonstrating this morning to try to get the government to recognize that the human resource in the public service is very important.
Well, plans are reportedly underway for the postal workers to be relocated to the town center mall, but Pinder says those plans have been stalled.
My information is they've finally done some blueprints some months ago to actually start the renovations at the town center mall. But we've been hearing that now for months. No work has commenced as yet. I understand no payments have been made to anybody to even start anything. And so we got to put some pressure on the government. In these adverse conditions, they can't advance in the workplace. At least they can consider the persons who have been up for promotions for years, can't get promoted. A number of persons here waiting to be regularized, 16 years, can't get regularized, working here, being paid by environmental health. They don't even know their fate.